Again, I have to ask you that because sometimes when you see like, let's say a Puff, he might have a manager who might be an enabler, like to help him get to her, like an R. Kelly or whoever. Then you have their bodyguards or security unit who might allow some things to take place. Might see it and just, hey, we're going to just allow it because, hey, it's the essence. What was your mentality when it comes to the enablers or the people that allow or just what, how did you approach the situation that you're like, I don't know about that?
I don't know what you mean by that question. That was such a broad and asinine ass question that it's hard to answer something like that.
Let me be more direct.
Be direct, bro.
Let me be more direct.
Yeah.
Were you an enabler or did you allow or see stuff that you're like, man, I ain't gonna jump in that?
Bro,
go ahead.
Criminals do crimes with criminals. I've never been a criminal. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So now, if you're looking to answer something about Puff, Puff ain't the Puff. Puff had different phases of his life that y'all don't understand. And let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. You understand? First, you got Puff Daddy, who had Daddy's house and the parties and things like that. Then you had Puff. You understand? Then you had Diddy. Then you had Brother Love and then Love. I had Puff around the stage when he was Puff Daddy and Puff and some of Diddy. Not the new Diddy that they gave the diddler and everything like that. So he ain't the guy, he wasn't the guy that y'all see now back then when he was in Harlem. You understand? He was the guy that our crew chased down the street because he was trying to be a part of it and he ran. You understand? We brought him back, beat the shit out of him, hit him in the head with cake spoon, with champagne and all the other shit like that. He was wanted to be a part of us. He was the one used to beg, don't go to the party, please, please, I'm on my way. I'm on my way, so he could walk in the club with us. You understand? So to answer that question, bro, you're not doing nothing that's gonna cost my livelihood. You understand? You're not gonna do anything in front of me to cost my livelihood. You understand? Now, have I seen some shit? I seen a dude come up in the club and the lights. You understand? At a New Year's Eve party. So now I see this guy laying on the ground with his, no. Did somebody touch everybody? He came through the back door of the kitchen. You understand?
Yeah.
Because it was a restaurant that was giving a party. Yeah. The guy came through the back. I run and turn on the light. And as soon as I hit the light switch, you see, pow, and the gun smoke. Dude ran. That's the kind of crazy shit we see. You see girls with the guys and you throw them out the club. You understand?
Yeah.
So
it gets like that.
Right.
I have to ask real quick. Diddy's pops. I saw you. There was you had mentioned that as far as Diddy's pops, his dad was murdered.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that I didn't know. Did you know of his pops?
I didn't know of his pop. I didn't know jack shit about his pops. I learned from his pops from one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York Freddie. Right. The police said they went to New York Freddie's house in Mount Vernon and he had stacks of $100 bills 6 feet high in the whole basement. That's how much money he had. He was the one who started Russell Simmons. They won't tell y'all that story. He was the one who started Russell Simmons and them into the music business because he had a record label first that Russell Simmons used to work for. So now New York Freddie want to talk to Big Gene. One of his lieutenants back in the day, if you see his story, his name was Omar. Omar was our OG from 112th Street, 114th Street. They used to come around with us. They used to love the food I used to cook because I'm a hell of a cook. You know what I'm saying? So now Omar said, yo, New York Freddie want to talk to you, Gene. I told him he used to bodyguard Puff because he want to talk to Puff and tell Puff the real story about his father. So I said, yeah, all right. So I'm like, New York Freddie. I knew my history. I knew what New York Freddie was about. So I went and took a meeting with New York Freddie. New York Freddie said to me, he said, yo, man, I've been trying to get in touch with Puff. Russell Simmons, none of them would take my calls. It's all good. He said, I want to tell Puff the true story about his father. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know, what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him because they had cops on the payroll to, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confession that Puff father signed. So I was like, yo, he said, we gave him $10,000. It was a New York City cop. He worked for them. He said, we gave him $10,000. Puff father said that he only told because he had a wedding to go to, which I thought was hilarious. You understand? This is coming from New York Freddie. So he said that I wanted to talk to Puff, but he wouldn't take my calls, he wouldn't see me. He said, I wanted to let him know that I told the guy, y'all got to get rid of him. Y'all brought him in, y'all got to get rid of him. So all these people talking about he worked for Frank Lucas, he worked for that part like that. He may have gotten some things from them or whatever, did some work. Nah, he worked with New York Freddie team. And New York Freddie told the dude to get rid of him. Now, if Puff father was all that big of a gangster and he was all that and everything like that, why is he driving a cab? None of the gangsters in Harlem drove cabs. They drove Cadillacs, Rolls Royce, Mercedes, etc. You understand what I'm saying? So now, Puff father get murked by the dude that brought him in. And New York Freddie said to me, he said, I want to let him know the dude that was crying at the hardest at the funeral, carrying the casket, was the one who killed him. Yeah. So now, this is crazy to me, right? About a month ago, I told that story, right? A young lady, a woman, who was dating Puff father, hit me on, what y'all DM me on the DM. The Instagram. She said, Big Gene, she said, thank you for telling my story, that story. He said, I was dating for Puff father. And I went up to Flash Inn. It was a thing on 155th and McCombs Avenue in Harlem. I was waiting for him the next day because he had told me the day before he was killed that to meet him up there. He said, New York Freddie and all they crew was up there laughing and joking. And they knew about Puff father that got killed. So now I knew why they was doing that. Yes, sir.
Real nice story. What made you leave Diddy's side?
Who said I left his side? You said what made him, you said what made me leave his side?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the whole working for him.
Puff, ASAP Ferg father went to Puff, and there's two reasons.
Realizes right now in this moment, everybody's looking at, oh, well, if Diddy's is bad, what about this person? What about that person? And people love tying people's names into things without really thinking about it. And Luther Campbell has some interesting things to say about former bad boy security. So I want to say it right now with this man present. If he was not there, I can only imagine how much worse things would have been and could have gotten.
Right.
This is the man.
And like I told these guys now, people who commit crimes with criminals.
Yeah, they do.
I ain't never been no criminal.
No.
And I'm never gonna let anybody get harmed. I'm always intersected. I'm 10 steps in front of you before it happens.
But that's the other thing.
No, sing my song.
I'm gonna sing it, but I want to say this, and then I'm gonna sing it. In positions that we've been in, and the people that we've been around, you had it made. So did I. There was a disagreement in the way things were going. You went your own way.
Right.
I went my own way. If it was really, if we were terrible people, you don't walk away. You stay. It was made. You were the man.
Yeah.
Of all, period. Imagine, as he went on into his billionaire status, all the things.
I could have just kept my mouth closed.
Period.
I didn't have to tell Miss Wallace nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't have to say nothing to nobody. That's what people don't understand. I chose to. You understand? They want to make up the stories they want to make up. And that's what you get this internet. You got a lot of people making up stuff. But then when the stuff come true, they look stupid. They don't say nothing. They quiet as a church mouse. All the things that Jagden said, you understand? And the only thing I disagree with about this was Chris. That's the only thing I disagree with.
Can we speak on that right quick?
Because understand, Puff's mother trained him to be a superstar or in the industry, whether it been a model or a dancer or singer or whatever like that, whatever his talent would have been. So for him to come back from there, I think that he had no other reason. He had to. He had the blueprint. Big had gave him the plan.
Gene, let me ask you, are you surprised that, we're about to have a trial with Tupac's murder, but Biggie's murder is still unsolved, may go unsolved? Are you surprised with that?
No, I'm not surprised because the LAPD has suppressed all the evidence and they know who killed Big already, brother. I have not told a lie. When I tell the people that they had the picture of the Muslim, me and Puff in the same picture, you understand? Walking up to Puff van, but they had his face distorted. They know they got those pictures. The FBI agent, Phil Carson, said he saw the same picture. Then when he went back to review it, the picture was gone. See, they didn't know who they was dealing with. They didn't know that I had a memory like a fucking elephant and I was not gonna forget anything that happened. I wrote that in my second book. Exactly what went down during that interview. You got people around here telling lies. This is the guy he picked. No, I don't. Run the tape. The tape will tell you, they asked me, do any of these guys on this photo look like him? And I said, nah. He said, anybody look close like the guy, something like that on this photo? I said, he looks something like him, but it's not him. That's what I said. Anytime you do a lineup and you point somebody out, what do the cops make you do? They make you initial it or sign under the picture. Correct. That you said that. They seen a circle and say, this is the one he picked. No, I didn't. Not one of the detectives who was on that thing said I picked anybody in the lineup. I just said he looks something like him, but it's not him.
Damn. It's crazy because, documentaries come out. I know police have spoken. And it's one of those things to where we might get some, I don't want to say closure, but with KVD coming up, that might open up like to Tupac. I'm just curious. We're about to fast forward to what Diddy got going on. Gene, you started talking about, let's say a few years ago, about just your life in the industry. Are you concerned about the feds wanting to come sit down and talk to you about, hey, we need you as a character witness about some situation that may have happened back, during your heyday?
Some situation back during my heyday.
They want to talk to you about things you may have seen.
You have to be more specific than you are, sir.
Yeah, let's get to it. The feds want to ask you certain questions about what you may have seen, and they want you as a character witness to speak on and testify against Diddy.
To testify against Diddy? Correct. About what?
About anything you may have seen. No, not even testify yet. They want to bring you in for questioning about what you may have seen. Is that a thing?
What I can say to you, sir, is that being an officer myself, they don't bring you in to question you about what you may have seen. They question you about what they already know you have seen.
That's the feds.
And what you say. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way I would know that. You understand? But what I can tell you is that, can Puff be erratic? Yes, he can. You've seen that. Can he be, does he have a monstrous behavior sometimes? Yes, he have. You seen that. You understand? Can he be threatening and abusive? Yes, he can. You've seen that. So, bro, I went on MTV in 99, VH1 in 2001, 2011. Everything that y'all just now hearing, I've been told it to them. I've been said it. They got tapes and they could go back and say, well, he didn't say that, he didn't. They got 5 hours. Y'all getting an hour. They got 5 hours, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? Both of those places, VH1 and MTV. I was in the silhouette because I was working still as an officer and I didn't want to lose my job. When Miss Wallace brought me over, Puff told her, I don't know Gene Deal. I told Miss Wallace everything till she was crying and told me to be quiet. She didn't want to hear no more about the night her son died and what was going down and what I told Puff and what I said to Big, the whole 9 yards, how I pulled him out the car, all that. So, bruh, this is nothing new to me. This is just post-traumatic stress that I constantly live through. And I talk about it to get over it and get me through the night. I'm not a drug abuser. I'm not a drug addict. You understand? I'm not an alcoholic. It's a good thing that I found YouTube and I found certain things other than sitting on a couch.
So it's public knowledge that multiple women have come out with accusations of, why do you think that it's with him in a way that they didn't back then, late 90s, early 2000s?
I don't believe that. I believe that women have been coming out, but nobody was listening. You understand? Nobody wanted to hear it. Did you hear that guy Van from what you call that show, was on TMZ? He said somebody told him the story about Gina years ago, but he didn't want to hear it and he wasn't going to take it to TMZ because they was in partnership or Diddy was in power. So he wasn't going to bring it up. Yo, you know how many girls have came to me about other artists? Women have always been telling these stories and wanted somebody to talk to or somebody to do something about it, but nobody would do it. No, the police wouldn't take it. You understand? Lawyers wouldn't take it. Now lawyers see a paycheck. They taking it. And that's what it's about. Women have always been talking about it.
From a perspective of someone who has been in law enforcement, as well as someone who has participated in bodyguarding or protecting celebrities, what is it about men who are celebrities and abuse? Like, why is that so? Do you feel like it's so common that women are like, hey, these celebrities are abusers, they're sexual assaulters? Why is there such a connection with that in such abundance, do you feel?
If I was to speak on a personal level, which I can only say on a personal level, it has to do with money. You understand? See, they learn, if you notice, those people learn from a different aspect. Remember the song Money, Power, and Respect? They got that money, which they thought they had power and they should have respect. But we learned, if you learn from where I came from, and if you from any hood in America, you got to get the respect first, which give you the power. And somehow you make money. You understand? They got it ass backwards. So they see through a different window. I've seen guys Yo, let me just say, all these guys that y'all see as superstars, they used to beg to jump in the picture.
Right.
From your Jay-Z, you understand? From your Mace, your camera, they used to jump to be in the picture with everybody. And now they be like, they don't want to be in the picture. They don't want to be seen. Used to have them at the door, begging to get in.